It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Going to thank Rob for sending me today's beer from North Wales. It is from the fabulous Wild Horse Brewing Company. And this is a can of their Serpent and the Worm Saison. 5% ABV in a 440 milliliter can. I really like the can wrap on this one. If a little low, it is a little low. It's gone past the chamfer of the bottom of the can, but I mean, it's a nothingness, is it? Really, it's a nothingness. Probably the brewery would like it if it was like 5 mil higher, but hey ho, it's not. I'm a big fan of this brewery's beers. I think they brew some tremendous beers, and I think they're a brewery that people are looking at. They're definitely a brewery that people certainly want to try their beers. You know that because, let's get it open into a glass, see what we get. You know that from the brewery because you get friends who are into the different beers that we try that on Untapped, and even a couple of YouTubers have sent me a message saying, oh, I've heard of this Wild Horse Beer Company. What are their beers like? And I always go back with absolutely fantastic. Not had a bad beer from them. In fact, only ever had really good beer from them. Really solid, more than solid. A terrific example of modern British brewing. I think what's happened, I've mentioned this before. I'm going to let this settle a little bit because I want to get the sediment in the glass here. The beer definitely wants to be hazy, being a Saison. At the moment it's clear. Let's let that head dissipate. We'll get the rest of the sediment from the can in the beer in a moment. But whilst we're waiting, I always think if there's a really good brewery in the area, so for me, Polly's Brew Co. is in the vicinity of Wild Horse Brewing Company. It's definitely on their radar. If you have a good brewery in the area producing really good quality beer, then it raises the overall standard of the area, of the brewers in the area. If you look at Verdant down there in Cornwall, there's a few breweries now popping up around the Cornwall area that are producing tremendous beer, whereas before they may have been just happy to knock out real ales. Everybody ups their game. It's very much the same as Polly's Brew Co. up there in North Wales. North Wales now seems to have a thriving beer scene and really good quality beers. Is it a brewery called Guyco up there? Guyco or Guyco Brewery? They produce like Saisons and Belgian beers. I've had a couple of their beers and they've been tremendous. Same as Wild Horse, only had good beer from them. But the first beers that I had from North Wales were Polly's. So I think it's a really good thing that a company like Polly's, a brewery like Verdant, Cloudwater, they raise the overall standard of beer in the area. Right, the head has dissipated. Watch how hazy this beer gets now. There you go. Looks really good now, doesn't it? Nice and hazy, yellowy in the colour, kind of straw coloured. Slow moving carbonation, one finger white head. Let's get the aroma. Whoa, yeah. Lovely. Belgian Saison. Tell you a story about Belgian Saison, the reason why they call it a Saison and where it came from in a moment. But first of all, I want to taste the beer. Smell the beer. It's got like a little bit of lime running through in the aroma. It's peppery, it's spicy, it's dry. It's slightly funky. It's slightly horse blankety. It reminds you of a farmer's yard. Horse blankets and hay. But there's definitely like a cut of orange peel in here as well. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, wow. Right, first and foremost, what I was hit with was a massive sense of carbonation. It was like hissing and fizzing on my palate. Oh, but it's so juicy. So juicy and drinkable. Did I give the ABV? 5% ABV. I always, when I find something so massively juicy and drinkable, I always take a double take at the ABV. I always look at the ABV again. That's because I always get so impressed when you try a beer at 5% ABV, which some real ales can be really big and thick and gloopy at 5% ABV. Big and bold. But then there's some beers at 5% ABV, like this beer, that's it's super drinkable. It's super refreshing. Lemon, orange peel, spices, pepperiness, horse blanket. It's definitely following the taste profile of the aroma. The aroma and the taste are very similar. Very drinkable, a little bit of bitterness on the back end, a little bit of sweetness to begin with. But I want to tell you all about Saison now, if you like. The Saison style nearly died out until this whole craft beer revolution started, I would say about 12 years ago. And then you started to see Saisons come back. So it was a style of beer that was brewed by farmers, French farmers, Belgian farmers. And they would brew the beer as a table beer, as just like a stock beer, if you like, for their farm workers. So the farm workers would be working all day in the hot sun. They get to lunchtime, the farmer would probably blow a whistle, or he'd send his dog out, or, shout, wave, whatever. They'd come off the farmer's field and they would be greeted with maybe some bread, if they were lucky, some cheese, and a big glass of beer that would have been brewed by the farmer, or maybe the farmer's wife, and it would have been a Belgian stroke French style Saison. This is the beer that would have been brewed for French and Belgian farm workers in the day. It was a very simple beer, very easy to brew beer. It wasn't overly complicated. It was just a nice beer brewed for the farm workers. Of course, nearly died out. People weren't really talking about it. It was only the craft beer revolution of the last 12 years that really has brought this beer style back to life. And I think it's a great beer style. I really do. So now we live in a world where there's a craft brewer in North Wales brewing a French farm workers beer style. Isn't that a wonderful thing to think? I mean, when I started drinking beer in my early teenage years, you never heard of Saisons. Certainly back then, you never heard of Saisons, or, the only stout available was a Guinness, or, you might get the odd bitter or mild, but lots and lots of lager. But it's great to see that these styles have made a massive, massive comeback. So this beer is a nod to the link between Llandudno and its twin town Wormhout in French Flanders. There we go. The name of Llandudno's famous Great Orme headland is derived from the Old Norse word, the sea serpent. The text is really difficult to read on this. I'm like having to move it around to find it. The Serpent and the Worm is a hoppy saison brewed with barley and wheat with a blend of old and new world hops. And then there's a little bit of Welsh on there. So, Llandudno and its twin town, Wormhout in French Flanders. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Absolutely cool. I like it. I like Wild Horse's beers. I more than like them. I love their beers. Thank you to Rob for sending this. Wonderful. Very drinkable, very refreshing, very lovely. I like it enough to give it a Stone the Crow's 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.